Hello, Empowered Woman. Welcome to this episode of the Empowered Woman podcast. Today, I have something special for you. I actually did something a little different, like reality TV style, reality show style. I recorded the first part of this episode before my TEDx, and then the second part after my TEDx. So just this morning, the morning after. So if you don't know, I recently was selected to speak for TEDx and have been training until the day, March 3rd, 2022, and it happened. And I'm so excited to talk about the journey and what all that meant and what that means to you. If you have a dream, if you have something that you want to accomplish, whether it be getting on the TEDx stage or anything else, I'm here to tell you nothing is out of reach. And here are some tips and tricks for you to land your TEDx or just to learn more about this amazing experience.
Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
All right, well, this is the pre-TEDx part. So I'm mostly going to focus on the story of what got me to the point where I got accepted and the process of training and everything. And if you have any questions about things that I didn't mention, please feel free to reach out and let me know so that I can share with you. So I had applied to several TEDx's before. In fact, in late 2018, I joined a visibility program that really encouraged me to get a more, to talk about my message in a more coherent way, in a more cohesive way, in a very direct way. In fact, the name of the mentor that owns this membership is a membership called Visibility. I know her business is called Visibility Vixen. Michelle Lewis. She's amazing. She's spoken to 2 different TEDx's. Her dad used to work in Hollywood, and she's just amazing in terms of visibility. And it put really the bug in my ear to start applying. And she had a whole system of, looking for TEDx's that are taking applications, following up, making sure you have the dates correctly so that you can submit everything. And I did it with quite a few of them, even from out of town. And then I got a response back from a local one with the Grand Junction TEDx, and which is here in Colorado. It's about 3 hours away. It's close to Aspen, 3 hours away from Denver. But at the time, this was pre-pandemic, they wanted to do an in-person audition. And that would be so hard for me. My kids weren't even 2 yet. They were just shy of 2 years old. And it was tough. I was like, I can't, unfortunately, make the drive just to audition. If it was the event itself and I could prep beforehand, And I know had this happened after COVID, I would have been able to do it virtually. But unfortunately, that was not the case, but it was not the time. And that is something that I'm learning so much in growing my business. And just as I get older and I have more life experience, honestly, is that timing really is everything. And sometimes we want to force things, we want to rush things. And then I decided to focus on my business. I was like, well, what will being on TEDx really do for me? Is it really going to explode my business necessarily? And also something else that I've been learning is how helpful would that have been when my triplets were so small? They weren't even going to school. So with all that in mind, I focused on my business, and you know the story, which I'll share more soon. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I haven't even told anyone about this except for close friends, but I will post on social media soon, but you get to hear it first on the podcast. Quick side comment here. I've been invited to be interviewed by Stu McLaren from Tribe, if you know what that is, but it's the membership program that I was a part of that revolutionized my business in 2020. He's about to begin his launch to open up his program in April, and he'll be doing a series of interviews with former clients with success stories, and I was contacted. So I'm so excited to be able to say that not only did I write a book using some of his teachings, which was creating a framework, creating a success path. If you're a triber, you know what I'm talking about, but I'll get into detail when the time comes. I'll also get to say that I shared a part of my success path of my framework on TEDx, because that's what my talk is about. But I'll get there in a minute. Anyways, quick parenthesis here. So I decided to focus on my business, and I did. And honestly, now to think back, it was in 18 months that I got to six figures, and I'll be talking more about six figures this month of March. This is really my focus, is telling it all, debunking all of the things, being extremely open about what my journey entailed, because in many ways I have been hard on myself because it took me 5 years to get here. But now that I look at the last things that have been happening, publishing my book, getting to TEDx, it's like, this is when it was supposed to happen. This was a journey that it took me, and that is okay. And we need to stop beating ourselves up and thinking that everything needs to be overnight. Anyway, so I focused on my business, and last October, I actually get an email from a TEDx saying, hey, you're in our mailing list, and we are gearing up for an event coming up, and we need volunteers. Would you like to come and volunteer? And then in exchange, you will get a training with our curators that will talk about what makes a good application, how they pick, and this will increase your chances in case you ever wanted to be on the TEDx stage. And I was like, that is a great deal. It was the MSU TEDx, so the Metro State University here in Colorado, which actually shares the campus with Colorado University, Denver, where I got my master's. So it was like on campus. It was on a Friday. The kids would be in school. I was like, totally. Blocked my day off and went to volunteer and to actually go to a TEDx event. So here's a very important part. So I'm telling all of this because maybe you want to know out of curiosity, but maybe you do want to be on the TEDx stage. So here is my piece of advice for you. First, obviously, go research and see which are the ones that are local to you. Many people look for ones even out of town because they really want to get it, but you have to remember that it is not a paid opportunity. If they have in-person trainings, you most likely won't be able to make it, so you'll have to do it virtually. So keep all of that in mind. I think for me, because travel is hard, I would much rather get involved with local ones. So that is my advice, because then you will get to have friends and family come. So think about all of that, right? And so, okay, so I find the local ones, but if I apply to other ones from out of state, I will have even greater chances if I apply to more, right? Yes, 100%, but because of the reasons I just mentioned, I would say just get involved, because ultimately that's what helped me. So I volunteered, I went to the training, and then they said, if you're really serious about applying, send us a message, and we can even get on a Zoom with you alone to talk about your pitch, to talk about your application. And I was like, I'm totally going to do this when the time comes. And so they opened up applications a month later in November. And they also contacted volunteers to say, because you volunteered, we're offering you a discounted rate to sponsor our next event, which, by the way, I thought that was so genius, like keeping you in the loop. And I was like, I totally want to do it because my book was about to come out. And I thought, and they own this specific group, these curators, they're actually a couple, I'll talk about them in a minute. They own 4 different TEDx licenses. So if you don't know, TEDx is a franchise. You get to purchase a license. You have to follow several of their guidelines, but you have some freedom in terms of the training and how you do things, obviously, because it's yours. And so they own the TEDx Cherry Creek Women, TEDx MSU, which is Metro State University, and they're just starting out the TEDx Youth. I don't know if it's Youth Cherry Creek. I need to look, but it's a youth one that is actually going to happen in April. So that's super exciting. So I was going to be sponsoring the TEDx Cherry Creek Women, which I felt would be great because I assumed the majority of the people that would attend would be women since all speakers were women. And then I got to promote my book, take the sign and everything. The book wasn't published yet, which was such a bummer. And I almost like withdrew and said, I'm not going to make it because the book's not going to be out. But then my business coach, Gary, was like, it's still exposure. You should still do it. And plus, it was a really, really good rate. They gave me like the best location of a booth. I got to connect with so many people. So it was all about building awareness. And again, I was there. I was showing up. I was supporting the event. I was, seeing the curators and being a part of it. And so then after that, I meet with him on Zoom and ask about, what do you think about my topic? Is this strong enough? And it was so helpful. I'm so grateful that I did that. And then on the freaking airport, my friend, as I'm leaving to go spend Christmas in Brazil, I get an email from them saying, you've been accepted. If you can make it to all of these dates, because they have several dates of trainings, of meetings, it's a very involved process. I know it will take up a lot of your time, and especially because of the holiday season, we have less time than we normally do to train speakers. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to make this happen. And I said yes, and it was just an incredible way to start my trip to Brazil. So that was that. When I came back from Brazil, we had our first training right before New Year's Eve. And we got to meet all the speakers. Everything was on Zoom. We mostly just talked about like housekeeping stuff and introducing ourselves. And then it was not really a training. It was just kickoff call of sorts. So that was that. Then in January, we had our first training, which was on Zoom. And this is something important because you may see lots of people that say that they are TEDx coaches, that they are literally part of the team of a certain TEDx franchise. And like I said, because it's a franchise, they have to follow certain guidelines, but each franchise has their freedom to train the speakers a certain way. So they organize things differently. And sometimes they will hire out, right? They will hire a coach or somebody that has experience with speaking to come and train the speakers. This specific franchise is all operated by a couple. Their name is Daphna and Michael Genet, and they're amazing, by the way. Daphna is also a state representative. She's an amazing speaker. She's so engaging. Her laugh is amazing, and I have to have her on the show, like 100%. In fact, I met Daphna at an event, I want to say in 2019, yes, before the pandemic, for Women of Denver. That is a networking group here in Denver. And she was a speaker. And I was like, she's so engaging. I would love to have her on my podcast. I tried connecting with her. Obviously, she's a very busy lady and it didn't work out. But I told her that. I was like, here we are again. I was so inspired by you. And now not only do I know you, I'm getting trained by you. So it was amazing. And Michael has worked in the TV industry as a producer, I believe, worked with video. He's also an author. He's also a TEDx speaker. They're just so incredible. So they are the ones that actually do the training, and most specifically Daphna. So she guided us through an exercise, which was so encouraging because a lot of what she taught were things I was already implementing in my speaking and helping clients with as well, and things that I learned from my media mentoring program with Christina Nicholson and Lisa Richards. They've all been here in the show, by the way. And anyway, so we did this training, which was very interesting. The whole way that they do it is that they don't want you to memorize. They don't want you to take notes. She walks you through a 6-minute exercise where you just do a brain dump in 3 parts. And then basically that's your talk. There's lots of freedom for you to practice. And I love that they put kind of the responsibility on us. They said, if you do your homework, if you practice, it'll show up on stage. The harder you work on your own, because all we want you to do is to keep saying it. And several times they had us present to friends or present to people that don't really know us and get feedback with very specific questions. I thought that was genius because it's vulnerable, right? It's not 100% ready yet, and then you get people to say what they think. But it was really good. Obviously, I shared with some of my mentors, with friends, with my family, and got great feedback to keep on going. Then we had a second training that was an individual training, and that one was my favorite because even though I got picked, I had all these thoughts of, am I even worthy? Like, you meet all the other people, their topics, and you start thinking, comparing, obviously, right? I'm not meant to be here. They probably just picked me out of pity. I'm the triplet mom, plus I was involved in the other stuff, so they were like, all right, let's give her this bone. And so I told them all of that. I was so vulnerable with them. And like I had mentioned here in other podcast episodes, this whole beginning of year was a little bit rough because of so many things happening, so many good things happening, and kind of me not having time to adjust to this new reality of all the things that I'm accomplishing. Like, it's a good thing, but almost like my nervous system is still adjusting, which is a topic about six figures that I will get to probably next episode. But so I told them all of that. And I loved what Daphne said because she's so freaking funny. I need to have her on the show. She was like, Marta, we love you, but we don't love you that much. If we didn't think that you were a fit for the stage, we wouldn't risk our reputation with something, you know? So that gave me such ease. Like, I needed to hear those words. And they kept saying, you are exactly where you're supposed to be in your journey, in terms of how your talk sounds. This is where you're supposed to be. So now you just need to keep practicing. And they've been doing this, I think, for 12 years. And she was like, everyone feels this. You're not alone. And just knowing that helps so much. You know, as a coach, I know. And that's why I share my stuff with you, my woes, because when you know other people are feeling similarly, you're like, okay, I'm normal. That's fine. So that second training was brilliant. Then we did a third training that was supposed to be in person. Unfortunately, I didn't make it in person. I was on Zoom with the other ladies that were also from out of town. Oh my gosh, fun fact. And I only found this out at the pre-event dinner. So they had so many fun things. So after all the trainings were done, 2 nights before TEDx, they had us all meet for dinner. And then we got to see everyone kind of in a more relaxed, way, but a little bit nervous because it was right before, and everyone got to get up and speak, like, how are you feeling? And this one girl, Lisa, she is from Germany, and she thought when she applied that the event was in the UK. I mean, no brainer, right? People that live in Europe, they travel all over different countries super easily. Then when she got the acceptance email, it says it's in Colorado. And she's like, oh, let me Google this. Where is Colorado? And it was in the US. But I'm so glad that she got to come, especially with all the travel craziness going on in the world. So that was a funny, can you imagine you apply to something and you're like, it's in a different country, in a different continent. But anyway, so we got to get together in this dinner, and it was so fun. And then I just kept promoting. I just have been promoting the event, especially because, something special. When I was doing my individual training, not only did they reassure me, they suggested that I celebrate Brazil in my talk. And that was just so heartwarming to be like, they have been so supportive regardless in terms of me promoting my book. I remember the very first call that we had, they were like, Marta, you have something special to share, right? And I was like, what is it? Didn't you just publish your book? And I held up the book. I told everyone what the book was about. Like, I just felt so welcomed. It was amazing. So this is the pre-journey. And after I talk, I will let you know how it went. Okay, what are your thoughts so far? I am so excited to share the post TEDx. But first, let me remind you, if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, The Empowered Woman, The Ultimate Roadmap to Business Success, you can find it on Amazon, or also a Kindle version if you prefer. I'm working on the Audible, and it'll be out soon. Or you can go directly to my website and get a signed copy. I will ship it directly to you. Just go to martasburg.com/book. And I hope to hear back from you and see what you thought. Oh my goodness, you guys. It is literally the morning after. I have already presented. One thing I think I forgot to mention when I recorded the other part, the first part, was that pretty much like 5 days before the actual event is when I found the order in which I was going to speak, and I was second to last. And when I saw that, I was like, I'm going to have to wait all day. Because here's the thing. The event only starts at 10, but we had to be there at 7 in the morning to take professional pictures, to just get acclimated and everything. And I started thinking, how am I going to get ready? Because I need to drop the kids off in daycare, and I need to drive over there, and I need to get, to get makeup done. And so I was like, I need to have somebody come to my house at 5 a.m. So luckily, I had this amazing makeup artist that I met at a business retreat last November. I talked to her. I was like, here's the deal. You'd have to be in my house at 5. Can you do it? She was like, sure. So Jessica Eden is her name if you need her contact. She's incredible. So she came over at 5 a.m., but I'll get to that in a minute. Hold on. I was talking about the order. And when I saw that I was going to speak at almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, seriously, how am I going to keep up with the makeup? Not only that, but the nerves, right? Of all day long hearing everybody speak, and then it's me. And when I saw that, I messaged Gary, my business coach, and I was like, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm bad? Does this mean that the talk's not so good? You know, your head starts going crazy. And he was like, excuse me, you're a closer. You're amazing. They say they're saving the best for last. Plus, don't even worry about that, because what really matters is the video, because that's what gets to be immortalized on the TEDx YouTube, and you get to share, you get to talk about, you get to embed in your freaking website. I was like, okay, that's true, that's fine. So I messaged my makeup lady. I was like, quick bump in the road. We're going to have to make sure that this thing lasts, which I know it would, but you know. So she gets here, does her thing. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. She gets here, she does my makeup. I take the kids to school, and I get to the venue, a little bit light, but I took the pro pictures. I'm so excited about the outfit that I picked, because that was one of the things that Daphna said in the training, in one of the trainings, in terms of outfit. She was like, pick the outfit that is most you, that you feel the most empowered in your freaking life. And I was like, okay, I need to think about this. And so I took great inspiration, obviously, from J-Lo. I don't know if you saw, I think it was the first public, like, red carpet appearance of her and Ben Affleck now back together, and she was wearing this gorgeous white dress. So I decided to wear white, which I know is super brave, but I was like, I'm supposed to feel empowered, right? So I'm going to wear something that's going to pop, because I remember the last TEDx event that I went, one of the speakers was wearing white, and it looked freaking amazing on stage. So I found this cute dress. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, I could get married on this. It's so cute. On this website called Lulu's, which I didn't even know about them, because mostly I just buy my stuff at shine.com. This was a little bit higher end, like it's a little bit more expensive. It's like $60-$70. And it looked amazing. I'm so glad that it worked out. And so I was just, watching. I watched the first like 6 speakers, and then I was like, all right, I need to take a break. So I went back to the room where they had like the live stream going on the TV, and it was a little bit more quiet, because all the speakers were kind of like just getting in the zone, listening to music or practicing their talk in a corner. So I just, hung out there. Then I had to go through lunch, obviously. So got to hang out with all my friends that got to come. I'm so glad for everyone that just came because they love me. Like, this whole process of publishing my book and going to TEDx has been so amazing for me to see that people really, really love me and support me. Because, our brains, we're usually focusing on the negative, focusing on the people that are not supporting us, on the people that don't like us, on the people that don't buy from us. And this entire journey has been a reframe for me of like, no, there are people that love you, there are people that support you, there are people that want to see you succeed. And then when you're not so worried about the people that are not wanting you to succeed, guess what? You get to be the person for your clients and for your loved ones that wants to see them succeed. So this is the person that I'm becoming more and more. So it was incredible. Then my turn came. And something really fun that they have, I forget what her actual name, like her title is, but she is the person that holds your hand and holds space for you right before you get on stage. So she breathed with me, she held my hand, she hugged me, she gave me encouraging words, and then she mic'd me. And then I got up on stage, and I was just so ready. So there were 2 parts that were most emotional when I talk about my kids and when I talk about leaving Brazil. And I wasn't expecting to be emotional. I was expecting to be more emotional when I talked about my kids than Brazil, but you just never know what's going to happen. And I actually did cry when I talked about Brazil. And I know that, especially when they said that they wanted me to celebrate Brazil, I know that this is going to be so impactful. Like, I started seeing how more and more, we know this, but then you start getting deeper into the understanding of the impact of what I do, and how me getting up on stage as a Brazilian and talking about Brazil and talking about leaving Brazil and how hard that was, because, you get to living your daily life, you forget these things. It was an important moment to celebrate immigrants. And that was something that one of the girls that was speaking, Sabah, she's also an immigrant. And when I was practicing in the trainings before, she said that touched me because I know how that feels. And then right again, after the talk yesterday, she said too, I was crying. And oh my gosh, when I got back to the table after the event was over, like, I talked, then there was a last person that talked. So I would say it was about like 20, maybe 30 minutes after my talk was over, I went back to the table. And Gary, my business coach, was just a mess. He was just like still crying, the poor thing. But that's, when he was so proud of me, and I can't wait to have our call next week so we can dish it all out. But it was so great, like just the fact that my parents couldn't be there. I had these amazing friends and supporters, and I always say that Gary's like a father to me anyways. So it was so special, and I'm still soaking it all in, really, because now I get to share this when the video comes out. I get to say that I'm officially a TEDx speaker when I apply to other things, and I have other speaking engagements coming up. I'm speaking to a MOPS group, which I'm excited about because I'll get to talk about faith and talk about what empowerment really means when it comes to the new nature, when it comes to being born again. I am so excited to share that, and I'll share more in my content soon. I'll also be speaking for a women's Chamber of Commerce event in April. There's more stuff coming up, you know me, on to the next adventure, right? But not without taking this in and really getting to appreciate what this meant, because it was absolutely huge. And so one fun thing is that there was a live stream opportunity. So I invited as many people as I could. Obviously, with it being a weekday during the day, it was hard because people work, which was fine. But I'll get to share the video afterwards. But what was nice is that they had a live stream and it was free. So I shared it with my family. I shared it with friends. I shared it online the day of. I was like, hey, I just found this out. Go check out the live stream if you can at this time where I'm going to be presenting. And so my parents got to watch it from Brazil. Several of my clients all over the country took screenshots and posted it and said, I'm so proud of you. It's got me emotional. So I am so grateful. And this is a journey. I hope you enjoyed listening more about it. And I want to leave you with the encouragement that if you're watching me, man, and you have a dream in your heart, just go for it. Like, if anything, I'm proof that nothing is out of reach. Literally. Like, the more I look at everything that has happened, especially the last 6 years with my kids, like, I really thought that having triplets was going to be the thing that stopped me. I may have shared with you that there was a time when I was rocking babies, watching So You Think You Can Dance, that dancing show competition, and thinking that could have been me. I could have been so much more, but now I have triplets and I'm going to have to wait for many years. And I decided that that was not what was going to happen if I didn't want it to be, that I could still be a good mom and that I could still, follow my dreams. So if you have something in your heart that you want to accomplish, go for it. Go for it and do it, because you can make it happen. Empowered woman or empowered man if you're listening to me. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed listening to my TEDx story, not the talk. The talk will come soon. Don't forget to connect with me. Join my Facebook group. That's a great starting point. Marta Spurk on Facebook. Go to the Empowered Woman community. And once again, go check out my book, The Empowered Woman, The Ultimate Roadmap to Business Success. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, bye.